Welcome to episode 31 of Tale of Two Dead Girls. We are your hosts. My name is Kayla.
My name is Kale.
And we're going to be doing something a little different today. I am going to share stories. And this is actually different. This is not really a paranormal story, but it's kind of, I feel like it's fitting. It's a different topic, but I definitely think that this is interesting and it's fitting for this podcast. And Kale has no idea what I'm about to share.
Yeah, I get to listen with you guys, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, so I'm like super fascinated by these kinds of experiences, and I wanted to share a few that I came across during my research. And I have about, I think, 4, maybe 5 cases that I wanted to share. And these are near death experiences.
Oh, yeah, these can be very freaky.
So, first, I just want to say that I have read stories of near death experiences since I was probably in high school or younger. And it's always been so interesting to me. I always felt like there has to be something after death. I don't feel like you just die and that's it, lights out, like everything's, black. Like, I don't believe that at all. So, reading stories, watching people talk about their stories, it just like opens my eyes to much more of this like soul lifetime than what we are used to. Like a lot of people just don't know what happens after death. A lot of people are scared of death because of that. But I think this stuff is so freaking cool and fascinating. So let's jump right in. I'm not going to be giving any names. So these are just things that I have read. All right, let's go. So, case number 1. So this person didn't describe their death situation, only the experience that they had while they were dead. At first, they felt as their soul was too big for the room that they were in, as if they were a giant. Then their awareness was expanded into another dimension, and they were consumed by the true depth of what reality is actually like. They described it as being on Earth, or, being on Earth was like being sim characters, where you get to like control everything and, or other things are controlling you. Going into this dimension, they explained that their mind felt faster and more intelligent than you can even fathom. They also felt the most intense love and life that was completely unimaginable. A love beyond what we feel here on Earth. It felt so intense that they could physically feel it throughout their whole soul. The atmosphere was like lively chatter of a tropical rainforest if the density were multiplied by millions of times. They heard what they described as a soul song that had a depth to it that had no audio, or sorry, not that had, that no audio or song or sound on earth has or could ever compare to. It was like a hum of millions of voices that were each talking individually and distinctly, but together in a wholeness to create a single sound that vibrated their being, consuming them with that feeling of life and love. They state that anyone is incapable of imagining what it is like unless they have to experience it in a near-death experience. They also shared that our souls look like the most beautiful emblems of gold light. Now they have realized that all suffering on earth is meaningless and that true reality is nothing but love and life.
Wow, that's really interesting. I haven't heard it described that way before.
I know, like when I was reading the part about like the soul sound or soul song, oh my god, I can't even imagine how beautiful that must have been. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. I hope I experienced that. It's kind of spooky. Like, I mean, but it's not spooky at the same time, but it's just spooky that there's things that we haven't even thought of that, or that we can't even comprehend, that will happen when we die, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely freaky. I feel like you don't really think about it, and then when you start thinking about it, it's just like anxiety inducing. At least for me, it was.
So, case number two, this woman died on the operating table from blood loss during a C section. The surgery took 10 hours, during which doctors were fighting to bring her back. Not sure how long she was dead for, though. She didn't explain that in her story. But once she had left her body, she stated that everything around her was just gray, like maybe a void of some kind. She describes feeling like she was connected to everything, that she knew everything, yet nothing at all. She goes on to explain that she was on the top of a super foggy mountain overlooking a massive body of water like a sea or an ocean. And about 10 feet down, she saw her body face down on a ledge. She made the instant connection that it was her and realized that she was dead. She wasn't scared, anxious, or sad. She turned around, and all of a sudden, she was in a bed with three light beings standing around the foot of it. These light beings were thin, tall, and had long arms, neither male nor female. She couldn't make out any features, just an outline of the light. She explains that they telepathically told her that she was in the ICU and that she would be okay. She saw these beings through her closed eyelids, and when she opened her eyes, she was in the ICU.
That is fucking scary.
So, aliens?
I know, that's creepy. I don't like that. Like these
Yeah.
weird, creepy beings, and then the fact that they just said it to her like telepathically, like they have
Oh my
no.
god. That it's totally like, I don't know, that sounds very much like aliens.
Yeah, it's like I mean, there's like some theories that like our spirit just like leaves our body behind, and so maybe it had to create like an image for her mind or something, but it didn't have any
Mhm.
features, so it wasn't like actually a body. I don't know. That's so weird.
I don't know, they got arms.
True. But did it say
Oh,
they
wait.
had facial features?
No, I mean, she
Yeah.
couldn't yeah, so she actually couldn't see the features, but she saw the outline, like, from the light. I'm assuming it's, like, the light in the background and then, like, the silhouette. But, yeah, I think I'd, like, poop my pants if I saw aliens or something when I was dead. Well, when you go through, like, out of body experiences, astral projection, I don't know if it's I need to actually look at the difference between out of body and astral projection. But astral projection, I know that you could see, extraterrestrial beings and like aliens and like creatures and weird stuff like that. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it, because when you're astral projecting, you're conscious, your soul or whatever is like leaving your body, sort of like. I don't really understand it or like how to describe it. I need to look more into it because it's so fascinating. God, I'm so fascinated with astral projection. I really wish I could do that. And I'm gonna
I
try it.
remember you were gonna try and do it and like meet Legacy when you guys didn't live together.
Yeah, and he was scared to do it.
Yeah.
His dad has like so many stories about astral projection, and his dad has like a lot of stories about a lot of things like this. Like,
Oof, bring him on guest episode.
yeah, we could, we would probably be on the episode for like hours and hours and hours though. Like, he's got a lot to talk about.
Oh jeez.
But I think that would actually probably be fun. I would have to talk to him about it. He should have his own podcast, honestly. He's got a lot of stuff that he can talk about. But, anyways, okay, so now we are on case three. This person was 8 when they nearly drowned and had their ND experience. They described it by saying that they had no thoughts or fears and that they knew everything and didn't need to feel anything or think of anything. They felt like they were being unplugged. Okay, wait. And this is when they're 8 years old, by the way. Like, they're a
Oh no.
child, so they're not even an adult, and they remember all of this and they're experiencing this.
Scary.
So, they explained that they had a 360 vision where they could see the sky, the pool fence, the lifeguard not paying attention, their babysitter reading a magazine, and they could see their body struggling in the water. So, face down, struggling in the water. They had like a brother who was also struggling, and the brother was on top of the kid that was like fully submerged under the water and couldn't get up. So they stated that they did not see figures or talk to anyone, nor was there darkness. Towards the end of it, they saw their babysitter jumping in to save them. The body's face reached the air, they went back into their body. And ever since their experience, they started seeing translucent green ghosts every night for a few years. They weren't scared of them as they were said to be friendly, but whenever they would look at them directly, the ghosts would disappear. So they would have to like rely on their peripheral vision in order to see them. And a few years later, this person lost interest in the ghosts and stopped engaging, and that's when they stopped seeing them. So with this one, their near death experience, I think it was since they were so young, maybe they didn't get the full experience. Like maybe they weren't in a dying state, like where like some of the other cases that I had talked about, like they like flatlined, you know, like they're dead. There's no activity in their body. And this one, I feel like maybe he was just unconscious, and so he maybe had an out of body experience because he could see himself, and he was still here on like Earth and everything. Like
Yeah.
he can see everything going on, but there was nothing like beyond that, you know? So I feel like that one was just more of like an out of body unconscious experience. I mean, because once he like touched air, he was back in his body, and I think he was like able to breathe again.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. And plus, I know there's some people with anxiety that have like out of body experiences or like hallucinations kind of. So it could have just been like the straight up like adrenaline of everything.
Well, see, I don't know because then also like then he started to see ghosts and stuff. So like, what if there was some part that he just didn't remember, like reaching, like maybe he did leave Earth's plane or whatever it's called, you know, like this dimension, and
True.
maybe he did go to another place and he just doesn't remember it, and that's what opened.
Ew, it's like Insidious when they're like, if they can see you, you know how it's like if they see you, then they like want your body.
Ew, I don't remember that. I need to watch that again. Oh
Yeah.
my
Because
god.
like Insidious, it's basically like they're astral projecting, but if
Yeah.
like the spirits see them, then that's when they like attach to them and try to take over. That's why the little kid was
Oh,
like in a coma or whatever.
yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah,
the
yeah.
spirit was trying to take over his body.
I don't know how true that is though.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a movie, but it could be something like that. Like
Yeah.
he went to the spirit realm and then he
Oh,
had
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
medium, like a
Yeah.
mediumship type of power or something.
Okay, so case four. I know, sorry, these aren't like super juicy, but these are like real experiences. These are real experiences that people like actually had. So I just find it so fascinating. Like, so freaking fascinating. Before I want to get into this other case right here, my last two cases, I actually want to share another other ones that I didn't write down, but I had watched a YouTube video recently, two of them where people were sharing, you know, their near death experiences. And two of the people said that they met Jesus.
What the heck?
Like they actually met Jesus. Like they like weren't really a believer. They like, you know, as everyone knows, like someone I mean, when you're growing up, I feel like everyone is taught of God, Jesus, you know, pray if you're in danger or something. Like, I feel like that's just something that everybody has been taught, like, whether you follow it or not, like, you know that that's something to do when you're like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay, so they said that they like saw Jesus and they felt like such intense love. Like they were like these people were getting choked up when talking about it. Like they were crying, and you can tell like how much it affected them. And they talked about like the warmth and the light and how loving it felt to that, or like they felt like Jesus or God or whoever it was. I think they are saying Jesus though, like specifically Jesus, not even God, but like Jesus, that Jesus knew that person and they knew Jesus and they loved each other and like they felt it so intensely. And like then they come back to earth and then they're like, preachers and shit. But like it's just like so crazy because when I see that stuff, I'm like, wait, so like is God real? Like the man with the robe? Like I don't know, because I mean it's crazy. I mean, I I've I went through my Christian phase a few times over my years of life, and I'm not really there anymore. But I know that Jesus was a real person, but like for him to be seen in a near death experience and like felt, I don't know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I know when I looked into it, there was like studies that when your brain is going through something traumatic, like it can do things to make you feel more comfort. And so it could just be like a comfort thing in the back of their head, like a hallucination kind of thing. I don't remember how to describe it, but I don't know, that's pretty crazy. The thing that's weird to me about near death experiences is that everybody has pretty much like a different experience.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder if like what happens after you die is what you believe happens, like
Right.
kind of like
Yeah.
manifesting, like you manifest your afterlife. I don't know, cuz like I have a friend that's an atheist and he had a near death experience, and when he died, it was just black, like he saw nothing, but he said that he felt so much peace, and
Mhm.
that when he was brought back to life, like he felt miserable, like he wanted to die.
Yeah.
But even though it was just black and like there was nothing in his experience, there was nothing, he still just like
Mhm.
felt so much peace that he just wanted to die again.
That's scary. Maybe he had cuz I've also this is like a whole thing, but like I've heard that maybe like you get reincarnated, right? Like that's another belief. Like you get reincarnated as many times as you need to until you have learned what you're supposed to learn while being in a human body. And I'm thinking that's like a spiritual journey, your awareness, your spiritual awakening, stuff like that. And learning to love and learning to forgive and learning to just do more good than bad. I don't really know, but apparently love is like the most powerful thing ever. So like the thing you're supposed to do is love with everything you do, love everyone, love everything, just give so much love to everyone, and like once you learn that and you do that, then maybe like you just die and it's, lights out. I don't know. Maybe your friend is there, like maybe your friend was there, like all right, they learned everything, but then why did they come back? I don't get it.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is that if you want to live forever, just be a bad person. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. But I don't know, there was other things that I watched where like it was talking about like evil creature, like the worst creature ever, and he was ready to take the soul, but then Jesus came and saved him, and like I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah. And like when my grandpa was dying, he said that he was seeing like black figures in the corner of the room.
Ew, scary.
Yeah, that like really freaked my grandma out, but I don't know. I've always felt like black creatures are evil, but I feel like maybe it's just like shadows or something, like of your ancestors waiting to pick you up and bring you
But why
wherever
do
you
they have to
go.
be why do they have to be like dark shadows? Like why can't they be like a beam of light or something? Something
Well, some
something
people have seen
something
that,
sweet
yeah.
with like glow, why does it have to be a black shadow?
Well, some people have seen that. I mean, I don't know. There's supposedly
Yeah.
different colors for your aura, but
Oh,
he
right,
was
right.
also on a lot of um morphine,
Drugs.
so,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Um, okay, well, we're on to case number 4. Okay, so case number 4. This person had a drug overdose in her home and was rushed to the hospital where she wasn't breathing and was without oxygen for 5 minutes. I don't know if that was like her before she gets into like an ambulance or whatever, but she was without oxygen for 5 minutes and her heart had stopped for 110 seconds. So that's just under what, 2 minutes? Oh my god, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So this is her experience. When she went unconscious, everything went dark. She couldn't hear a sound. She couldn't see anything. She felt the sensation of falling and floating at the same time. She felt like she was drowning, then all at once, that sensation disappeared. She was cold, but in a way she's never experienced before, like a different type of cold that the humanly body has never, ever felt. She explains that she started to feel her soul leaving her body, and from there she started seeing vivid colors, but they had no defined shape, no awareness of time. Then all of a sudden, there was a physical sensation again, but this time of a very strong pressure on her chest, and this seemed to travel throughout her whole body. She claims she heard whispers telling her it's not your time. And then she came back.
Wow, that's I don't know, that's so weird. I feel like so many people have said the same thing, like, where people are like, "It's not your time."
They have to be told that in order for their soul to like travel back to where they're supposed to go. I don't know. I wonder if there's anybody that actually it isn't actually their time, but they like end up dying anyways. Like if someone says it's not your time, but then they ended up actually like fully dying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And we'll never know because they're dead, but it's just that's crazy.
Well, I've also heard some people say that they got the choice to either go back or to die.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
then like some
frick.
people were like, "We I wanted to stay so bad, but then I thought of my family and I knew
Mhm.
that I had to go back," or something like that.
Oh my god, yeah. Another one that I watched, this woman had died and then sorry if you hear my dog playing. He
Yeah.
just ate, so now he's hyper and he's looking around at all the toys that he has on the floor cuz he's a baby and has toys all over the floor. But yeah, so she had died and she was leaving behind her husband and her kids, and they were like young, like maybe 7 and 8. Um, and she said that she got a playback, or not a playback, but she was able to like see the future, like see how like she could see her kids growing up and that they would be okay without her. Because she had the choice, like you could stay or you could come back, or maybe she didn't have the choice, but she wanted to stay. She didn't want to come back. And so she was seeing all of that and how her husband was going to be okay and her kids were going to be okay. And that made her feel really at peace, like to know that her loved ones aren't going to suffer for so long. They're going to, get through it. But then she got sent back. So,
Hmm. That's so crazy. I feel like it's too vivid for people to be lying. Or I mean, obviously anyone could lie, but like for it to not be like a real thing, it just seems like it's way
hmm,
too vivid for it to not be real. But then again, like you
yeah.
think about dreams and like sometimes when you wake up and you feel like sick because your dream felt so real. I don't know,
Hmm.
it's just so interesting.
Yeah. That hasn't happened to me yet, but I've definitely like I have such vivid dreams. I have such freaking vivid dreams, and they're just I mean, actually lately I feel like they've been a little bit less vivid, which I have no idea why, but I think I need to start journaling because I would love to lucid dream. And I think I actually started trying to like or I realized I was having a nightmare or whatever dreaming one night and then I woke myself up from it. Because I told myself, "Oh, you're just dreaming, so wake up and it won't happen." And it was like another dream of Legacy breaking up with me.
Oh geez. Those dreams are
Yeah.
the worst. You just wake up feeling
They
sick.
they freaking suck so bad.
Yeah.
But the good thing was he oh wait, I don't think he was sleeping with me that night. But I knew it was like not true. So I was like, "Oh, you're just
Yeah.
dreaming. Wake up and you're going to feel better, bitch." Okay, so the last experience. This person had his ND experience while in the car with his girlfriend. Backstory, a little bit of backstory. There's a lot of backstory with all these stories, but I'm not really here to share about the backstory. I'm just here to share about the experiences that they had. But this guy was like at a party with his friends, and it was like drinking and smoking and whatever. Um so he goes to the car with his girlfriend, and he starts like seizuring or something, and she's like freaking out, not knowing what to do. I don't think they call I don't think they call an ambulance at all this whole time. But so pretty much he like dies or goes unconscious, and he watched himself leave his body from the top of his gold Saturn. He started to move in an upward direction faster and faster, like flying up out of Earth's atmosphere kind of thing. And he left Earth and watched the sun shrink into the distance. He thinks he was moving so fast that it was at the speed of light, possibly. During this, he became aware of what was happening, and he no longer felt any fear. He felt free. He turned his head to face a direction in which he was traveling. He was speeding past small galaxies and stars. Everything on the left side of his vision suddenly started showing him everything he loved, like people, places, things. And on the right side was math, science, and shapes. He kept moving along and describes everything he saw being so beautiful. He starts moving even faster, and it becomes too much to comprehend and like a huge blurry light show. Then all of a sudden, there's nothing but a small ball of light, and further, he sees an enormous wall of white light that gets closer and closer. So he shuts his eyes and braces himself, like if he was gonna, hit it or whatever. When he opens his eyes, he's at a complete stop. No time, no space. He didn't feel himself stopping. He felt his legs and arms, but couldn't move or see his body as he would move his head around. He turns it around far enough to see that the small ball of light was fading away. He thinks he's trillions of miles away from everything at this point. He starts crying, and there's pain in his feet and in his palms. As he is finally gathering breath in his lungs, a mannequin like face with no detailed features starts to push its way through. Now, though it didn't have features, it still had like the indents of the face or something like that. Like,
Ew, like
you know,
Slender Man.
yeah, like that. Except the eyes weren't like black or anything. It
It's
was
just like
just,
a flat socket.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Just like that. So
Ew. Like a
the
morph
eyes and,
suit. Ew.
I don't know what that is, but yes.
Oh,
But anyways, what?
sorry.
Wait, what?
Just me. Oh, and then anyways. It was just funny. I don't know. Sorry.
That's okay. He says this face is bigger than him, and he describes it like him being the size of a pencil tip compared to this face. So he's like itty bitty compared to the size of this giant faceless face. He can't move and struggles against it. It then calls him by his name, but in a different language, like not English. But he knew that this face was addressing him. And then in English, the face says, "You are not ready nor worthy of this place. You must go back." And then calls him by that same name again, like in a different language. It starts opening its eyes very slowly, and he described linking. He described looking into them and seeing a living light in blue-white color. That light from the face's eyes hit him, and he never felt so much indescribable and unbearable pain. He said it felt like millions of white hot tiny needles were passing through him. It was like destroying him, like, and he knew that these needles and the pain that he was feeling, it was like trying to like destroy him, his body, his soul. He opens his eyes, and he was back in the car with his girlfriend. He was out for around 30 minutes. He was freezing and got out of the car, and he threw up what looked like watered down black oil. He went home and slept for about 15 hours and woke up and was completely fine. Never once did he go to the hospital.
That's so weird. Did he say what he overdosed on?
Well, so the thing is, he wasn't sure that I don't think he overdosed, like, or maybe, I don't know. So he goes to this party with his friends. It was like a small gathering though. It wasn't really like a party. It was like
Uh-huh.
6 or 8 people. And he goes to the house and right away he says that he felt like a really off feeling, like just going there just didn't feel right. And then he was like, I think he was like smoking weed. He like had a joint or something, and then he started to get really hot, like really really hot. So then he took off his jacket, but then like his spine or his back or something like that started to feel like it was on fire. So like all of a sudden he just like started to sprint out the door, like to go out into, get fresh cold air. And he was feeling like he was like about to pass out or something. And when he was sprinting towards the door, he said that he saw like shapes and colors and numbers. And so what he saw right then is what he also saw when he was like dead or whatever, like when he was seeing like the math and the science and whatever. He saw some of the
Yeah.
same symbols that he saw while he was still like awake and alive or whatever. And but yeah, like he didn't, like, he's always been fine whenever he like did that stuff, so he doesn't know what happened, and everyone else was fine.
I wonder if he got like drugged maybe, or if it was like laced or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was like an epiphany. Like he realized, because it said something like you're not worthy yet. So maybe it was like an
Mm.
epiphany to be like, yo, you got to change your life up. It's cool though, because I've never heard an experience like that where they're like shooting through space and seeing like all that stuff. Like I've never heard one like that. That's pretty cool.
Wait, what if this guy was just really high?
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was like,
Oh,
what
wait a
did he
second.
take?
Wait, maybe he did like Hell's Bells or something, and so he like, because I know with Hell's Bells you get like stuck and you're like in space, but I think that,
I don't even know what that is.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what salvia is. I
Oh.
think Hell's Bells is salvia, but if it's not, then he was either like accidentally on Hell's Bells or salvia. And salvia, I think that's the right word. Slavia. I think it's salvia. And that is like something that is like 15 minutes and like you like go to space or something like that. It's crazy. I've never done
Hmm.
it, but like I've had friends that did it in high school and stuff, and that's what they would always experience, or
That's
tell me that they
weird.
experienced. Yeah, I don't know. But that was it. All the near death experiences. I want to know if any of you guys have any near death experiences, because if you do, I would love to share it in our morbid mini episodes. That would be freaking awesome. So if you have any ghost stories, paranormal stories, whatever, or astral projection, or um, what is this called again? Oh yeah, near death experiences. Just send us your stories to our email. It is taleoftwodeadgirls at gmail.com, and we will read it in a morbid mini episode.
I actually wanted to mention of one NDE that I heard about from a different podcast, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't remember a lot of the details about it, but if you guys are interested, and Kayla, if you want to listen to it, you can go to the Supernatural podcast with Ashley Flowers. It's episode 27, but it's about the singer songwriter Pam Reynolds, and basically what I remember is that she had like a brain aneurysm, and where it was, like they clinically had to stop her heart, like they actually had to like kill her in order to get the brain aneurysm removed. Otherwise it would have, her heart would have pumped blood, and she would have died, she would have bled out.
Mm, damn.
So that's like one of the NDEs that I really like. Damn, like she was actually medically dead. Like they
Yeah.
actually had to kill her. And
Mm-hmm.
when she came back, I guess she was one of the ones that like didn't want to come back, and like she saw her like uncle or something and like her other family members that had passed away, and they got to talk and visit. But she also, like when she came back to life, she described the operation like to a T. Like the doctor was literally like, there's no way she would have ever been able to describe these instruments, like the sounds, the smells. Like she was dead. There's no way.
Ew.
There was no function at all. Like she would not have been able to describe any of these instruments or like, yeah, but I guess like she was like kind of over body, like watching it all happen too. So I find that
Crazy.
that's one that's really stuck with me because I'm like, that seems like very real. Like just knowing
Yeah.
like she was literally 100% dead, like the doctors purposefully like killed her so they could do the operation
Mhm.
and then bring her back to life. Like that's just crazy to me.
I
So,
wonder if she knew that going in. Like, did she know that they like, hey, we're gonna have to stop your heart at some
yeah.
point? Holy fuck.
Yeah, she knew because they were like there's a chance that like this could kill you, but also like it's the only thing that will save your life basically. So, I can't
Oh my
remember exactly what it
god.
was, but it was like on her like brain stem or something. It was like in a very tricky fucking spot. I think there was only like like certain surgeons that could even perform it. Yeah, definitely recommend listening to the episode. It's a good episode. It's that podcast is pretty cool. I haven't listened to all of the episodes, but there's some crazy stuff on there.
Spooky. Spooky
Yeah.
stuff. This whole dying stuff is crazy. But yeah, so that's it for today. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back with our episode 32, which Kale will have a story to share.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, we're gonna go now.
Thank you for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.